That night, in a cramped roadside motel room, something inside me shifted. The space was barely big enough for two people, and yet it felt overwhelmingly full, thick with unspoken thoughts, unresolved tension, and emotions I had spent months trying to outrun. The only other person in the room was Gary. Life doesn't always unravel slowly when it's about to change you. Sometimes it snaps. Logan had been gone for months, working in another city. I missed him, of course I did. But what wore me down wasn't just the distance. It was the silence, the absence of effort, the slow, quiet erosion of something that used to feel solid. Evenings alone had carved out a hollow space inside me, something restless, something unnamed. So when I asked Gary to drive me to see his father, it seemed simple enough, a practical decision, a way to close the distance. I didn't expect it to become something else entirely. The morning started like any other, though tension clung to me as I got ready. I remember catching my reflection in the mirror, put together on the outside, unsettled underneath. Logan's absence had made me feel invisible, but there was still a part of me that felt awake. Gary was finishing breakfast when I asked him. He joked about convincing his dad to finally replace his old car. I laughed it off, surprised at how easy it was to fall into that rhythm with him. 2 hours into the drive, everything fell apart. A sharp hiss, a violent shudder, then silence. We tried everything. Calls to mechanics, roadside fixes, frustration building with every failed attempt. By the time evening settled in, we had no choice but to check into the nearest motel. One room, one bed. I felt irritation rise, along with something I didn't want to name. The room was small, dimly lit, the air stale and unmoving. "This is it," I muttered. Derry just shrugged it off with a laugh. "It's one night. We'll survive." His ease unsettled me more than the situation itself. I showered first, letting the water run longer than necessary, trying to steady my thoughts. I clung to facts, simple, grounding facts. I'm 47, he's 22. This is temporary. But awareness doesn't always listen to reason. When I came back, he was already asleep. Or at least that's what I told myself at first. His posture was relaxed, his presence filling the room in a way I couldn't ignore. I paused at the door longer than I should have. It wasn't just attraction. That would have been easier to dismiss. It was something more complicated. Loneliness, confusion, the quiet human need to feel seen. I lay down carefully, keeping to the edge of the bed, as if distance alone could restore order. But in a room that small, distance is an illusion. Sometime during the night, I sensed movement. I kept my eyes closed at first, pretending stillness could undo awareness. But the air had changed. Charged, not dramatically, but unmistakably. When our eyes finally met, neither of us spoke. And yet, everything was said. There are moments in life when you realize you're standing at a boundary, a line you can step back from or cross, knowing nothing will ever be quite the same again. We didn't rush. There were no reckless words, no dramatic gestures, just a quiet, deliberate acknowledgement of something neither of us had planned. It wasn't about impulse. It was about recognition. Two people, both carrying their own kind of emptiness, suddenly aware of it in each other. When he moved closer, I didn't stop him. And when I responded, I understood something unsettlingly clear. This wasn't rebellion. It was the simple, dangerous need to feel wanted again. The night blurred into something soft and weightless, suspended outside of consequence. No promises, no future, just a moment that existed entirely on its own. Afterward, the silence returned, but it felt different. He lay beside me, quiet, thoughtful, not triumphant, not careless. "I'll never forget this place," he said softly. Neither would I. Morning came too quickly. The car was repaired. The world resumed as if nothing had happened. We packed in near silence, moving through routine like it could erase memory. But routine doesn't rewrite truth. On the drive to pick up Logan, my thoughts tangled into something I couldn't sort. Guilt, confusion, a strange flicker of something almost like exhilaration. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what would come next. I only knew this. The breakdown hadn't just been mechanical. It had revealed fractures that were already there. And whether that night would become a mistake, a secret, or a turning point, I couldn't yet say. But something had shifted, and there was no pretending otherwise.